Sophie Cunningham owned JC Sheldon from the same game that Marina Mabrey did the massive body slam into Caitlin Clark on. She still owns Jacy. She still owns JC Sheldon. And what's great is she's got a great sense of humor about it, and she's not shy about it. I mean, what are they going to do?
Sophie Cunningham versus JC Sheldon. The autograph that shook the WNBA. One signature just ended a career before it even started. When Sophie Cunningham grabbed that pen at a fan signing event, she wasn't just giving an autograph. She was serving up the most brutal public humiliation the WNBA has seen in years. And the target? JC Sheldon, the rookie who thought she could build her reputation by targeting Caitlin Clark.
This is kind of crazy. This one is kind of crazy. When you get Sophie Cunningham to sign a JC Sheldon rookie card with property of, that is crazy. That is crazy. Property of Sophie Cunningham.
What happened next would make Sheldon wish she'd never stepped foot on a basketball court. The moment that pen hit paper, everything changed. Sophie didn't just write her name. She wrote "Property of Sophie Cunningham" across Sheldon's own rookie card, and the basketball world lost its collective mind. This wasn't just trolling. This was a public execution disguised as fan service.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and JC Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
But to understand why this moment hit like a freight train, we need to go back to where it all started. Back to the game that turned Sophie Cunningham from role player to the most feared enforcer in women's basketball. June 17th, 2024.
Sophie commits a hard foul on JC Sheldon. Again, as JC Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional.
Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. What was supposed to be just another regular season game became the night that exposed everything wrong with how the WNBA treats its biggest star, Caitlin Clark. The rookie sensation who'd already broken attendance records across the league was getting targeted harder than any player in recent memory. And JC Sheldon? She was leading the charge.
She's the problem. She is the problem.
Third quarter, Fever trailing by 10. Clark's trying to back down Sheldon in the post when it happens. Sheldon doesn't just foul her. She hits Clark directly in the face, a contact so unnecessary that even the announcers couldn't believe what they were seeing. Clark's visibly shaken and holding her face, and that's when the dam breaks.
Sophie Cunningham would take her rightful place as the Indiana Fever enforcer, and I believe took the first step to her becoming the second most popular player in the WNBA. Sophie Cunningham is everywhere. Arby's, walking in. She's the best looking woman walking into these WNBA arenas. I mean, Black Belt Barbie, anybody? Black Belt Barbie.
Marina Mabrey comes flying in with a truck stick that would make NFL linebackers jealous, absolutely destroying Clark after the whistle. The arena erupts. Players are shoving. Fans are screaming. And through all of this chaos, one person is taking notes. Sophie Cunningham had seen enough. While everyone else was caught up in the moment, she was already planning her response. This wasn't going to be some heat-of-the-moment retaliation. This was going to be calculated, deliberate, and absolutely devastating. Later in that same game, when Sheldon went up for what she thought was an easy layup, Sophie delivered a message that echoed through every arena in the league. The bear hug heard round the basketball world. Sophie wrapped up Sheldon and took her straight to the ground, and it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a basketball play. It was a statement written in physicality that said, if you want to target our star, you're going to pay the price. The referees ejected Sophie immediately, but she didn't care. She'd accomplished exactly what she set out to do. Send a message that Caitlin Clark wasn't playing defense by herself anymore. But Sophie wasn't done. Most players would have let the on-court incident speak for itself. Most enforcers fade into the background once the game ends. Sophie Cunningham is not most players. She kept the energy burning long after the arena lights dimmed, and when the perfect opportunity presented itself, she struck with surgical precision. Fast forward to a routine fan signing event. Sophie's working the crowd, taking photos, signing programs, doing all the community outreach that makes fans feel connected to their team. Then someone slides a JC Sheldon rookie card across the table. Not just any card. Sheldon's official WNBA rookie card, probably worth decent money to a collector. The fan asks Sophie to sign it, and this is where most players would politely decline or just sign their own name. Sophie Cunningham looked at that card and saw an opportunity. Property of Sophie Cunningham. 4 words that instantly became the most savage autograph in sports history. She didn't just sign the card, she claimed ownership of another human being's professional identity. The moment was caught on video, and within hours, the clip was everywhere. Social media exploded. WNBA fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Even Lexi Hull, sitting right next to Sophie, was cracking up at the audacity of what had just happened. This wasn't some throwaway joke between friends. This was a public declaration that JC Sheldon belonged to Sophie Cunningham now. Every time someone looks at that rookie card, they won't see a promising young player. They'll see the guard who got so thoroughly owned that her own rookie card became someone else's trophy. That's not just psychological warfare. That's career assassination with a Sharpie. But here's what makes Sophie's enforcer role even more terrifying for opponents. She's not some end-of-the-bench goon who exists just to collect fouls. Since the All-Star break, Sophie has been absolutely torching nets across the league. 18 points against Phoenix when the Fever needed buckets most. Consistent three-point shooting that stretched defenses to their breaking point. Double-digit scoring night after night while her teammates were still finding their rhythm. The numbers don't lie. Sophie's shooting over 40% from deep and clutch situations, averaging career highs in both scoring and assists, and doing it all while maintaining her reputation as the player you absolutely do not want to test. That combination of elite production and enforcer mentality is rare in any sport. When Draymond Green talks trash, you know he's backing it up with championship-level defense. When Sophie Cunningham signs property of on your rookie card, you know she's dropping 20 on your head the next time you meet. This is what separates Sophie from every other so-called tough player in the league. She's not choosing between being an enforcer and being a scorer. She's dominating at both, and it's making opposing coaches lose sleep trying to figure out how to game plan against her. Do you focus on stopping her scoring? Then you're not paying attention to how she's setting up teammates. Do you try to get physical with her? Good luck. She's literally a black belt who grew up training in martial arts. The Black Belt Barbie nickname isn't just clever wordplay. It's a perfect description of someone who looks like she should be on magazine covers, but can absolutely destroy you if you step out of line. Sophie's built a brand around that duality, and it's resonating with fans in ways the WNBA hasn't seen since the league's early days. Her podcast is pulling serious numbers. Her social media engagement is through the roof. She's become the second most popular player in Indiana behind Caitlin Clark herself. And that popularity isn't an accident. Sophie represents something that's been missing from women's basketball for too long. Genuine authenticity mixed with competitive fire that doesn't apologize for existing. When she signed that rookie card, she wasn't worried about public relations or what people might think. She was being exactly who she is, and fans are absolutely here for it. But let's talk about what this moment really represents for JC Sheldon's career trajectory. This is a player who was drafted 5th overall by Dallas, couldn't stick with her original team, got traded to Connecticut, and is now bouncing around the league looking for a permanent home. Instead of building a reputation as a solid contributor, she's become known as the player who takes cheap shots at superstars and gets publicly humiliated for it. Think about that for a second. Sheldon's biggest headlines haven't been about her scoring performances or her defensive impact. They've been about hitting Caitlin Clark in the face, delivering a questionable knee to Clark's groin area, and now getting absolutely roasted by Sophie Cunningham. That's not the career path any rookie dreams about when they enter the league. Every time Sheldon steps on a court now, fans in the building know exactly who she is. She's not the promising rookie from Ohio State or the versatile guard with upside. She's the player who got owned by Sophie Cunningham so badly that her own rookie card became a punchline. That reputation follows you around in a league as small as the WNBA, and it shapes how opponents, teammates, and coaches see you. Meanwhile, Sophie's stock continues to rise. She's not just Caitlin Clark's bodyguard anymore. She's become a legitimate star in her own right, with her own fan base, her own storylines, and her own reasons for people to tune in. When the Fever play on national television, commentators spend as much time talking about Sophie's impact as they do about anyone else on the roster. This whole situation has exposed something the WNBA really didn't want to acknowledge. Their biggest star, the player who's brought more attention and revenue to the league than anyone in recent memory, was getting targeted game after game with minimal consequences. Cheap shots, unnecessary contact, and outright dirty plays were becoming routine whenever Caitlin Clark stepped on the court. The referees weren't protecting her. The league office wasn't sending strong enough messages with their fines and suspensions. Other teams realized they could rough up Clark without facing serious retaliation, so they kept doing it. That's where Sophie Cunningham changed everything. She filled a void that the league's official channels had left wide open. Now opposing players have to think twice before they try to make highlights at Caitlin Clark's expense. They know that if they cross the line, Sophie's going to be waiting to make them pay for it. And she's not going to do it quietly or politely. She's going to make it public, make it memorable, and make sure everyone knows exactly what happened and why. The psychological impact of that autograph moment can't be overstated. Every rookie entering the league now knows that if they try to build their reputation by targeting established stars, they might end up as someone else's property. Every veteran guard knows that going after Caitlin Clark means dealing with Sophie Cunningham, and she's proven she's willing to take that confrontation to places other players won't. That fan signing event wasn't just about one moment of trash talk. It was about establishing a new standard for how teammates protect each other in the WNBA. Sophie didn't wait for league officials to handle the situation. She didn't file complaints or hope for better officiating. She took matters into her own hands and created a consequence that Sheldon will never escape. The ripple effects are already spreading through the league. Other teams are watching how the Fever handles business, and they're taking notes. Young players are learning that loyalty to your teammates matters more than individual statistics. Veterans are remembering that basketball has always been about protecting your own, even if it means taking risks with your own playing status. Sophie Cunningham has become the enforcer that every great team needs, but she's doing it at a level of production that makes her impossible to ignore or dismiss. She's not just muscle. She's a legitimate weapon on both ends of the court who happens to also serve as the emotional backbone of her team. And JC Sheldon, she's learning the hard way that some mistakes follow you around forever. Every time someone sees that rookie card with property of Sophie Cunningham written across it, they're reminded of exactly what happens when you target the wrong player's teammate. That signature didn't just end an argument. It ended any chance Sheldon had of controlling her own narrative in this league. The most beautiful part about this entire situation is how perfectly it captures what makes basketball special. The on-court drama, the off-court personality, the genuine competitive fire that can't be manufactured or scripted. Sophie Cunningham didn't plan to become one of the most talked-about players in the WNBA, but her willingness to stand up for her teammate and then own that decision completely has made her exactly that. When fans look back at this era of women's basketball, they'll remember Caitlin Clark's incredible rookie season and the way she transformed the sport. But they'll also remember Sophie Cunningham as the player who made sure Clark didn't have to face the targeting alone. The enforcer who backed up her tough talk with elite production and never apologized for protecting her own. That autograph will live forever in WNBA folklore. Not because it was the meanest thing anyone's ever written, but because it represented something the league had been missing. Genuine, unfiltered competitive spirit that doesn't care about being politically correct or universally liked. Sophie Cunningham chose her side, chose her teammate, and chose to make it everyone else's problem if they didn't like it. And honestly, that's exactly what this league needed.